Hello! I know I'm late. I don't really want to talk about it. I couldn't find my uniform. Couldn't find my uniform for the stream today, but welcome back to the Funker News Network. I'll be Ronnie, and I'm your host because, once again, they have yet to fire me. I really tried hard today. But, yeah. Continue to be here. Welcome back. How we doing? Why the split screen? What's the split screen? What? No excuse? Hey! It's an important uniform I had to find. All right? I had to be in full gear. Slap the like button for me. We've got a little bit to go over today. We're going to have somewhat of a short one today. I've got a hot date with a good buddy of mine, Karma Cut. We're going to be playing a little bit of squad tonight a little bit later. But before we get there, I got to talk about our partner and our sponsor for tonight's stream. That's going to be Arbor Arms. Now, I could spend the time to really tell you guys about Arbor Arms and how much I love Arbor Arms, but I think what would do it a little bit more justice is if I let John do it himself. John is the owner of Arbor Arms. I got to spend some time with him at SHOT Show, and let's just say he's a quirky dude, but former Marine sniper. His partner in crime is Nick. Nick parachuted into Afghanistan as a ranger. Both absolute badasses. If you guys are looking for some of the best gear on the market, I can't recommend them enough. Here's what they got going on.
You can't do that in full kit.
I don't know why I seem to like John. It's weird. It's weird that I have a thing for John. Do your thing, John. Now, every single thing that he's wearing right now is stuff that they put together. The story behind Arbor Arms is really what I love about it. Right? These guys were taking sewing machines and shit with them into country, putting them in the connexes for their unit, fixing each other's gear. They've started their own company, and it's high quality stuff. It is. I run his sling myself on my AR. The AR is actually hanging up. I can show you guys that in a little bit. There he goes. Bye-bye, John. Thanks for what you do, buddy. Go check out Arbor Arms. The link is pinned to the top as well as in the description. Let's talk a little bit about what I've done to the description as well. I do read the comments both during the stream and after I review to see if there are any suggestions outside of me. I get a suggestion a lot. Could you not be an asshole? I'm trying. We're be better tomorrow than you are today, whatever. But one of the suggestions is if we could link every video that we review in the description. So from now forward in the description, you guys are going to see links to every video that we review here, as well as my notes on overall campaign. All right. I typically try to do these a couple hours before the stream. I ran a little late today. My 9 to 5 kicked my ass. Let's get started. Welcome in. I need to get the alerts up on the other side here, though, first. While I'm doing that, if everybody wouldn't mind, let me know where you're chiming in from. That way I can say hello. All right. YouTube. Show us your weapons. My feet? They're pretty hairy. My daughter said ew from the other room. All right. Getting closer. I ran late today, guys. I'm sorry. Welcome in. Virginia. Hey, what's going on? Netherlands. What's up? Wisconsin. Buffalo. Pennsylvania. Hello from Singapore. Prescott, Arizona. I spent some time in Arizona. Sierra Vista area. Stafford, James. What's up, man? Another Virginian, the Commonwealth. What's up, man? Doing a great job from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are all over the place tonight. All over the Romania. Holy crap. The last thing I wanted to get into before we talked about the footage tonight is I do want to reiterate our Patreon is available. We're a small team, and if you don't know who we are a team of veterans behind Funker 530. We've been around for coming up on 15 years now, covering combat footage, and every little bit of support helps us. If you don't want to pay Google your money, but you still want to support us, head over to the Patreon, !Patreon. There's also a link in the description. The link to the Discord is in there as well. Up to 30% off of all of our merch is the big perk of supporting us on Patreon right now. Let's get into the footage. What do we say here? Let's get into some footage. We had some members come across while we were away, and I'll get to those here in just a minute. But the very first bit of footage that we've got here is actually a first for me. This is going to be a British Martlet being used to take down an Orlan 10 drone in Ukraine. We're gonna see some pretty wild footage a little bit later on. I saw a comment earlier. Let me guess. All we're gonna see is Russian footage. We show you guys Russian, or all we're gonna see is Ukrainian footage. We show you Russian footage all the time. Go to the app and the website. It's all there. We're gonna look at one that's pretty crazy. It's probably gonna get YouTube to slap me in the hangdown. But that's okay, because this one's important for everybody to see. Let's take a look at this Martlet being used. This is a man-portable air defense system shooting down an Orlan 10 drone. And one of the things I see a lot of times in the comments is what a waste of a multi-tens of $1,000 munition. Something to remember is these drones are being used from a recon perspective to identify positions. So if you take away their capability to do that, you're really taking away their forward observation. Let's take a look here. No sound on this one though, guys. Derek, thanks for the 50. Love your work here, Ronnie. I love you. 11 Zulu 5 Victor. Thanks for the $4.99. Keep up the great work. Give their oh, there is sound. Okay, that's good. That someone my pants. Okay. Yep. Excellent. That scared me. Hello from Poland. Welcome in. Am I early or late? We're both late. We started late tonight. About quarter after. It's going to be relatively short tonight anyway. Now, again, I hear all the time, why are these being used on unmanned vehicles, especially something as small as an Orlan drone. We can take a look at an Orlan really quick. This is not a high-tech, piece of machinery here coming up for you guys now. These are very small gas, single prop kind of junky looking drones, but they can still be fitted with cameras. We see Ukraine using these not these, but commercial drones like the Mavics, your DJIs, etc., to spot enemy positions to great effect. One of the reasons that Ukraine has been very effective with their artillery, and we're going to see some artillery strikes from the 93rd Mechanized Brigade tonight, has been the use of these as almost its own forward observer. RC plane, basically. Silkies are nothing, guys. Jordan, thanks for the 20. Yeah, listen, I don't wear pants. If I'm somewhere that I have to wear pants, it's somewhere that I don't want to be. Mark, thank you for the $1.99. Yeah, pants, no matter what, should be optional. Will these kind of drones get caught by air defense systems? Typically not, because of their small size. They're so small. Now, here's the deal with the Martlet. That is a SACLOS system, semi-automatic command line of sight, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I didn't have a whole lot of time to research it again. My 9 to 5 ran over today. That's why we're late. I spent about 10 minutes on my research today. But my understanding of the Martlet is it is semi-automatic command line of sight, a lot like even wire-guided systems, where if you can see it, you have some capability. If you can see your target, you have some capability to walk the round or walk the munition onto target. Pants are for the weak. Pants are a crutch. Pants or a crutch. Let's move on to the next bit of footage here. We're going to be stopping pretty much dead on 7 o'clock tonight. Again, I got a date with a gentleman by the name of Karma Cut to play some squad, and I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be playing his custom mod, but we've got some stuff I want to talk about first. We just talked about, Russian drones, the Orlan 10. Let's take a look at Ukraine using a commercial drone, very effectively. One of the first Funker News Network episodes that I did was an edited episode of Ukraine using a commercial drone like a Mavic to drop what looked like a mortar round on a guy and his head popped off. That's actually out there on our Funker News Network playlist. Go check that out. It's pretty wild. It's coming up for you in just a minute. Lame video games. Everybody has a hobby, dude. Whatever you're into. You enjoy watching My Little Pony. I like playing video games. Everybody's got their thing, buddy. Coming up. Now you can see you can already see that that mortar round as it came out. Here, let's watch that again. There's something moving right here. Now we saw a lot of this stuff even before the invasion. Just going back. And there was a point that DJI actually stopped selling their products in Ukraine specifically because of their use. But Ukraine is actually receiving those as parts of aid packages from, NGO types. So they're continuing to receive that stuff. You're playing War Thunder? War Thunder is awesome. I just get my ass kicked every time I try to play it. All right, next piece of footage I have here. Oh, this one's wild. This one's wild, and I have it slotted for this moment, on purpose, because then I'm going to jump over to thank some of these new members that came across. But I've mentioned before how this war we are seeing in almost near first person, near live, a war happen, and this video is kind of proof of that. We're going to watch some Wagner mercenaries, so Russians, going toe-to-toe with what looks to be one or maybe only a few Ukrainians holed up in Popansa. So that is an area just to the west of Luhansk. And I might be pronouncing it wrong. Forgive me. But this is some wild footage. Really wild footage coming up for you guys right now. I pasted the wrong link. I'm human. Give me a break. I'm spicy today, just so you guys know. Be careful. Or don't. Make it more fun. Popazna. Yeah, that's what it was. Not Popanza. Stupid idiot. All right, it's coming up. I'm going to give you full screen, and we're going to call out a couple things here. I'm going to give you full screen. Here we go. So these are your Wagner guys that are maneuvering on this series of buildings. And just so you know where you should be looking, this building here, first green door on the left, this is occupied by Ukrainians. Now this is actually going to be about 7 minutes long, and there isn't any audio for it. But it starts to get really crazy, and this is a part of... I'm going to pull myself up on the right here. This is a part of like a 22-minute long video. But this is really the most heavy parts of it. You can see Wagner pushing up here from the top right. And this is the building that we're looking at here. I'm going to pull up a map immediately after this so I can show you where exactly this is happening if you're not familiar with where Popazna is relative to Luhansk, or not familiar with where Luhansk is. Hey, John, what's up, dude? Is that smoke? No, those are grenades. Those are grenades and rifle and rounds impacting the dirt. See, you've got movement in here. They're continuing to maneuver on these guys. So that was a grenade. More Wagner guys pushing in from this top side. And even the Institute for the Study of War reported on this one while I was reading through their report for the last 24 hours. Now, eventually, what we're kind of, building up to here is Wagner is going to occupy this shack on the far right here, and they're going to start to toss grenades in. I've seen this on the website. Glad to get the context of it. Make sure to check the analysis section if you watch stuff on the website. Our writing team really puts in a lot of effort to go and try to find context. If you're not familiar, I can show you where that is, but on your phone, it should be a tab immediately underneath of the video. I'm going to move myself. We're going to go back to full screen because I'm covering up kind of a key spot here. This guy on the far right. So this is a Ukrainian just tossed a grenade out over this way. I'm assuming to the immediate low left of your screen, there are more Russian proxy or Russian mercenary Wagner guys over here. And I believe that's why he, tossed that grenade. But keep your eye on this building on the far right. You're gonna see a Wagner guy. There's the Ukrainians. We're going to see a Wagner guy punch his head out here, and he's going to start, again, lobbing grenades. Well, he's going to try. Let's just put it that way. He probably wasn't going to have a career in baseball. Got more movement up here. They're holding a long angle. So here's our Russian starting to make his way through the door. He's got probably an RGD in his hand. Pulled his pin. And I think that one detonates just outside the front door there. Here he comes again. He's in the doorway. They end up exchanging quite a few grenades here. So that one blew up in the little alley between the two buildings. Eventually, he gives up on his aim, starts firing his rifle in there. But as an eventuality, if I recall correctly, he does dump a grenade through the front door. So you've got a Wagner mercenary up here to the top left, another one there. Oh, and to answer your question, I do believe this is a Russian drone recording this, if I recall. So he's got another grenade just pulled that pin, dumping that in. And that one went off inside. So he's going to hold his rifle out in front of him and just kind of unload through that doorway. You've got another Wagner guy. I guess these buildings aren't connected because he's holding an outside angle, just in case this guy goes down. Kind of a weird angle. Now, here is kind of the end state. What you have, there's probably some dead dudes in here. Yeah, there's probably dead dudes in here. But you have actually quite a few bodies out here that, presumably have crawled out. And eventually what we're going to see is the Wagner mercenaries, and I just call them mercenaries because that's what they are, not in a, for any other intent than the job function. we're going to see the Wagner dudes start separating them. I saw this a few days ago. Darren, we're only live twice a week. This was available on the site about 36 hours ago. And you could see them separating those Ukrainians that were on the ground. So there you have it. I guess all the footage is going to be Ukraine winning, isn't it? Weird. But that was one I wanted to start off early tonight with. That's some close quarters. You ever been to war? I've deployed twice. Wagner Group has a reputation for torturing POWs back in Syria, so I wonder what happened to the Ukrainians here. That's a great question. A great question. That was a wild one. It was. Absolutely. All right, let me check in on some of these members that came across, guys. Thank you for becoming members. Again, if you're not apt to become a member through YouTube and by extension Google, we do have a Patreon. We are Funker530. We're six people deep. I'm not the only guy. I'm not the only one. We're 6 people deep, all U.S. and allied nation veterans. And our sole focus is to show what war truly looks like. Now, we don't show the worst of what we have to offer on YouTube. And there's a reason for that. YouTube has rules with the things we can and can't show. And because of the size of our channel, we try not to bend those too much. We are reliant on the channel. That's why we have our own application and our own website, though. So check the description if you guys are interested in Patreon, if you're interested in the app, interested in the website. Torbaron, thank you for becoming a member. Donna, thank you for becoming a member. TC Stanley, thank you very much. Davey, Carlos, John, Roger, Power, Lorenzo, Bada Bing, thank you all for becoming members. Let's jump back into the footage over here. Also, slap the like button. If you want to support us for free, that's the best way to do it. The next one. So, this will be a great segue. This will actually be a great segue into something I wanted to recover that we talked about on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we talked a lot about all of the at least U.S. weaponry that was making its way into Ukraine. We're going to watch a Ukrainian using an automatic grenade launcher, an M32A1. This is a 6-shot grenade launcher. It can fire 6 40-millimeter grenades inside of 6 seconds. Really dependent upon how fast you could pull the trigger. Let's take a look at it. And then what I want to do is I want to go to the official Department of Defense release again for those that weren't here on Tuesday, and we'll go through that list of weaponry that's making its way to Ukraine. And it's coming up for you here in just a minute. Now, this is one I have never had an opportunity to use. I have shot 203, your standard issue AT4s, stuff like that. But this one is one I have always wanted to shoot. Coming up now.
Go ahead. No.
Now it's got a range of somewhere between 300 and 800 meters. It really depends on which rounds that you have in there.
Go ahead. No.
Now, if you're operating on a $20 budget rather than my brain's $5 budget, you might be able to measure using time the time between shots and when you hear the explosions to identify some distance there. That's a little bit too much math for me. I failed Algebra 2 twice.
Go ahead. No.
That one's short. I just wanted to play it a couple times.
No.
All right. How well do you think the USA would handle an invasion on U.S. soil? That's an interesting question. And my answer to that would be very long. and it's going to be very cliche, but I think the situation that we saw in Ukraine with people having to stand in line to wait for weapons, even your basic weapons like an AK, we wouldn't have as much of an issue in the U.S., especially with the establishment and continuance of the Second Amendment, right? It is, by extension of the Second Amendment, the people are the militia. So not only would they have to contend with, millions and millions and millions of generally trained Americans, but, then you would have to also deal with the American military, right? American military obviously being first. But I think an invasion of the U.S. is probably not something anybody really would want to do. A lot of people say, well, what are you going to do with a semi-automatic AR? You shoot somebody in the right spot with it. It works just fine. Let's move on to the next one here. Artillery, we talked a lot about... No. I wanted to cover the list of weapons that are on their way to Ukraine. And this is the official Department of Defense release. I'm going to give you guys a link to that here. This is what we're about to look at. And let's take a look. So if you've been wondering, you've heard a lot about which weapons are being sent to Ukraine. You've heard 800 million. You've heard, billions. This Department of Defense release was from, about a week or so ago. But it helps you understand the magnitude of the weapons that are being sent, weapons, ammunition, transport, medical supplies. In total, we've sent or authorized something like $4 billion, in security assistance, 3.4 billion since Russia's unprovoked invasion, right? From weapons specifically, 1,400 Stingers, 14,000 other anti-armor systems. So you're probably looking at legacy Warsaw Pact type stuff like RPGs and stuff, but also AT-4s, the Switchblades that everybody's been talking about, loitering munitions, kamikaze drones, the 155s. That we talked a lot about the 155s on Tuesday. 90 of those were sent along with 72 tactical vehicles to tow those. And they are M1 or M777s. They are not self-propelled. So you need a vehicle to get them in place. So we gave them 72 vehicles, we as in the United States, with 90 155 howitzers, 183,000 rounds of 155 ammunition. 200 M113s, that is essentially just a tracked armored personnel carrier. Its armament usually consists of not more than a Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher, more often than not a 240 Bravo or maybe a 50 cal. 7,000 small arms, 50 million, rounds of ammunition. This is why I can't find any 5.56 for less than like 70 cents a round. Actually, a lot of that is, Warsaw Pact ammunition, 7.62 by 3.9, 7.62 by 5.4R. The ammunition that is more commonly found, in Ukraine, in Russia, that's going to be more usable for them. So a lot of that is going to be 7.62, 39, maybe some 5.45. But I'm willing to bet it's mostly 7.62. Body armor and helmets. The Phoenix Ghost, we talked about still not having a whole lot of information on the Phoenix Ghost. But that, was in development prior to the invasion of Ukraine. It finished development, after the invasion, and they're now receiving those. It'll be its first operational deployment, from my understanding. And various other things, M18A1 Claymores, Seaburn protective equipment and medical supplies. So, generally speaking, this is the list of equipment that the United States has sent or has authorized to be sent to Ukraine. In my opinion, the biggest game changer here is going to be these howitzers. And the reason I say that, we're about to watch a video of the 93rd Mechanized Brigade really using artillery to their advantage. Ukraine's artillery, and we focused very heavily Tuesday on artillery. You should go back and watch that episode if you didn't see it. Ukraine has been very effective with artillery. A lot of times, like I said, they're using those drones as almost a forward observer to walk rounds on target. The reports were that they killed a Russian general near Izum over the weekend using an artillery strike, along with reportedly 200 soldiers. It's really hard to tell which pixel is the Russian general, though. Let's jump into the next footage, or the next video, and that one's going to be, like I mentioned, the Ukrainian 93rd Mechanized Brigade. And they released a video showing the destruction of 3 Russian tanks. It's coming up for you guys right now. There we go. I do believe this has audio, but it might be there might be music in it, so I can't play that. All right, just heads up. I'll give you full screen though. Oh, there's a great song too. That sucks. Living free. Music in the background is great. Yeah, it is. Gotta love AC/DC, man. Season tickets on a one-way ride. We can take a look at a campaign map, and I can show you where the 93rd is as well. So when we looked at artillery on Tuesday, we looked at, I want to say it was the 54th Mechanized Brigade, and we looked at the 30th, both of which are deployed very far to the east, right on that forward line with Donbas. We're going to be talking about Donbas quite a bit here in a couple minutes, specifically Russia's intent with Donbas. And I never did show you Popasna. Let me show you Popasna. For those that were here for the video, the very close quarters video. There we go. All right, it's coming up for you guys right now. So for the very close quarters video that we watched, here is Luhansk in the far east of Ukraine, well within Russian-controlled territory. Popasna is just to the west here. Right here on this little breakout from what is traditionally recognized as, Russian control. Now, Russia claims to control all of Popasna, but not even the Institute for the Study of War has validated that just yet. The video that we watched took place somewhere here in Popasna. Hey, Leon, how are you, man? Is there absolutely no strategy to get the soldiers out of Mariupol? What type of weapons would the Ukrainians need to destroy Russians there? To be honest with you, the Russian presence in Mariupol has significantly decreased over the last couple days. Something like 10 total BTGs have been redeployed from Mariupol for combat power in the east. There's about 2 remaining, with, according to a U.S. defense official, of course, to take this with a grain of salt. Yeah, I'm not there on the ground to, count from front to rear, count off. I have no idea. But according to a U.S. defense official, there's about 2,000 Russian troops still in Ukraine, still in Mariupol, and about 10 BTGs have rotated off. Now, since we're already talking about it, we might as well talk about it. Reports yesterday said that for the first time ever, Russians had made their way into the Azovstal Steel Plant rather than just the outskirts. So that this control line, or this line of advance, should actually be a little bit further to the west here. Now, we've all watched video together of a bird's eye view of what the Azovstal Steel Plant looks like, and it's an absolute nightmare. It's just a nightmare of mazes and tunnels and buildings. It looks like, if you've ever played Escape from Tarkov, it looks like Tarkov. Not to apply a video game against this, but that's what that's what comes to mind for me. I've got like 4,000 hours playing that. So the reports were that they had entered the steel plant. The challenge now, especially if there are only about 2,000 troops remaining in all of Mariupol, is going to be clearing this, right? Those that are active duty that recall what that looked like, it just looked like a nightmare. I'm hoping I might be able to find that video again. It was on Reddit, actually. We might have to roll like a commercial break or something, and I'll try to find that video. Let's finish out the rest of this footage, and then I've got some talking points to get through because we're already working up to our end here. The TOS-1 thermobaric. There was a lot of talk about thermobaric weaponry earlier on, and a lot of confusion about what exactly it did. Right, essentially, what the TOS-1 is a multiple launch system that that uses thermobaric weapons, and there's a mixture of fuel in there that effectively sucks the oxygen out of the air and ignites it on fire. It's coming up for you guys here in a moment. And this is the use of a TOS-1 in the east near Donetsk. Here you go. Music. Gonna keep the music off. Hey, Stubbles. It doesn't ignite it on fire, it detonates it. Thank you for that point of clarification. Green Diesel, thanks very much for that. Has any other country sent arms to Ukraine? A lot of countries have sent arms to Ukraine. A lot of countries. Not as many as you'd think, though. You know, there's been this narrative that the entire world is against Russia. That's not necessarily the case. Even the countries that voted against Russia, you know, when they were what were they voted out of? Were voted out of something relatively recently, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. There are a lot of countries that voted against Russia relative to this war that did so merely because of pressure from the West, right? Even some of those countries that you would think have taken a harder stance against it, it's more of a soft stance. Now, I did have a note to talk through today. You know, we do receive a lot of flack for only showing Ukraine videos. Now, the important thing to remember is we just post the videos that we find. You know, we're not curating these behind the scenes ever. We're too small of a team to do that. We're 6 people deep. We do have our own biases, right? I am biased against a bully. I don't like a bully. Regardless of NATO expansion to the east, I still don't like the fact that Russia invaded a sovereign nation. I think that's stupid. That's like me saying, "Hey, your porch is mine now." Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to work, right? So I have a bias personally against bullies. Russia is absolutely being a bunch of assholes for invading another country. That's my bias. The platform itself doesn't have one. We post Russia footage all the time. All the time. We actually showed Russia winning a ground fight just earlier, and we're going to watch a Spetsnaz video at the very end of this, and it's a nasty one. The last one before we get to that Spetsnaz video is early on in the war, we had footage of some choppers being taken out over either the Dnieper or the Irpin River. It's difficult for me to know which, just it looks like a river. But we actually see now the carnage of one of those Russian choppers after it was taken down by presumably a man-pad, a man-portable air defense system. The porch analogy is way oversimplified. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. Yeah, it's oversimplification of a complex problem. But it helps my dumb brain understand it. Coming up for you guys right now. Check out the carnage on this chopper. And we're actually going to get to see, reportedly, according to the video, the chopper itself being struck. So I wish they would have flipped it around, but here you go. So this is that chopper, I think it was originally reported as a Ka-52, but I can't tell that based on the wreckage, and I don't see the second prop. And these are the choppers out in the distance here. One of them is about to get taken down. Okay. Before we get to the last video, and then move into some of the talking points that I had, I wanted to take everybody through the website really quick, just for those that aren't familiar with us. I'm not sure how many there may or may not be out there. But if you were to type in funker530.com in your browser, this is what you'd see. This is our platform. We have built it from the ground up. It used to be like a blog type format. What we've done is we've essentially made YouTube for combat footage and law enforcement use of force footage. And the reason that we want to do that is we're tired of seeing CNN play 10 seconds of a use of force encounter and not provide the whole context, right? So we have a team of writers. This is the next video we're going to watch, so I'll just go ahead and click on that. We have a team of writers that provide analysis and context where possible. We're a full veteran-owned, operated, and run team of 6. There are 6 of us. Our partners, you can always find our partners based on the banners that we have on the sides, but we have a lot of great partners. I talk about them all the time when we start the streams. If you guys want to download the app, you will have to sign up for an account, but there's a reason for that. iOS and Android force us to hide some of this content behind a wall. And the reason is a lot of it's not safe for work. The video we're going to be watching is not safe for work. And this YouTube video will probably get slapped for this, but that's okay, because I think this one's an important one to show. A lot of our content is not safe for work. So what iOS and Google have done is essentially say you have to hide that behind an agreement that they are 18 plus. The only way for us to enforce that is through an account. Okay, so that's why you have to sign up for an account. Let's watch this last video. So what we're going to look at here is Russian Spetsnaz eliminating some Ukrainian ground troops, very close quarters combat. Viewer discretion advised. You will see dead people, all right? And it's not going to be easy for you to watch. It's coming up for you right now. I do want to caveat, though. Under most circumstances, this is not the type of video that we would normally review here. I would point you back to the website. I'll give you full screen.
Все, закрыть ты свой. Я снимаю на видео, пошли. Они вот здесь вообще возле дома были. Мы начали преследовать, они отходили.
Okay, so let's talk about what we just watched. I want to reiterate that was Russian Spetsnaz assaulting Ukrainian positions and some deceased Ukrainian soldiers. That's the type of content that we don't typically cover here But for those that might be new to the community, if that's something, if that's the kind of stuff you're hoping to watch, that's why we keep that on our app. And there's a reason that we host it. It's not because we just want to show dead people. There are moral boundaries that we just don't cross. I'm not showing you dead kids. I wanted to show you that because that's what war looks like. That's what combat is, and that's our mission. Our mission behind that is to make sure that we have a platform that you can go to when somebody says X is happening on the ground. You can point them to a video on our platform that says, you're absolutely wrong. This is what it looks like there. Right? This is what is happening. We talk a lot about whether Ukraine is winning or Russia is winning. For these folks that are on the ground, nobody's winning. Nobody is. It's nasty. All right, let's move on. I want to cover again. That's not something that we normally talk about on the YouTube channel. We leave that stuff for the app and the website, but I made an exception for it today. So don't expect stuff like that moving forward. We cover it. It's on the website. Download the app. Go to the website. I want to talk about a couple things, a couple more umbrella things specific to the campaign map. And we're actually going to use Hamini the West's campaign map because I think he does a great job really showing the gravity and complexity rather than just lines on a map, right? Just looking at lines on a map can tell you, well, Russia has 20% of Ukraine. That means they're winning, right? There's a lot more complexity to that, a lot more complexity to it. And I think Hamini of the West does a great job. I'm going to link you to the map and the channel that we're about to take a look at here. Go follow him and let him know that we sent you. That map is coming up right now. So first we're going to talk a little bit about the East. I'm trying to find the button there. First we're going to talk a little bit about the East. So Popasna is what we just took a look at here. And I'll scroll in for you on that. Russian general breakout, and this is Donetsk to the right here. Popasna, I had already showed you guys the overarching campaign map. If you're not familiar with military symbology, an X generally dictates infantry. This oval is track. If you see, circles at the bottom, that is typically wheeled. So you have mechanized infantry, the 30th mech down here, the 24th mech there. So we have that breakout in the east near Luhansk up to the north. You have quite a heavy amount of Russian advances that they are working. They are at least trying to fix all of these green Ukrainian units in place from the Izum axis up here to the north. And I will overlay this in a moment with just a more clean map. But he gets very, very into detail as best as he can. That's a link to his channel or his Twitter. So that the attempt for Russia right now is to connect Izum with the south to fix these troops in place for Ukraine. And this salient, which is what that would be, is essentially the size of Connecticut. Just so you guys understand the depth or the breadth of what we're talking about. This is the size of Connecticut. It's huge. So that's currently the effort that's happening right now. But something I want to show you guys from the Institute of the Study of War is what's happening just to the north of this. So just to the north is Kharkiv. And I want to show you what Ukraine is trying to do about it, right? Now we're gonna be sliding over to the Institute for the Study of War and their most recent assessment that they've put out. Here's the link to that, and we're gonna focus on the second map that they have, and that is the Kharkiv map coming up now. Ukrainian counteroffensives in the north have a chance to kind of unsettle what Russia is trying to do near Izum. So that map that we were just looking at, that breakout that I showed you, that attempt to cut off these Ukrainian troops in the east is right here. Blue areas are Ukrainian counteroffensives, and they have been wildly successful outside of Kharkiv, even pushing Russian forces all the way back close to their border to the north towards Belgorod. If Ukraine continues to be successful in the north, Russia will have to eventually make the decision whether or not they recommit combat power from the south to retain positions in the north, because, as you know, a great example would be this counteroffensive near Moldova. They're starting to get very close to Russian ground lines of communication. Now, Ukraine has been pretty effective at targeting lines of communication and logistics chains. I want to say they destroyed a Russian supply convoy on Interstate E4. I don't know if it's interstate. It's a road E40, which is near Izum. I want to say it's one of these. Maybe this one. But that has been a priority for Russia, given that priority for Ukraine. Given that Russia already has problems from a beans and bullets perspective, Ukraine is then leaning even harder on top of, Russia's supply chain to make it even worse. You know, the reports coming out from even the early war, Russia's running out of fuel, running out of food, running out of water. We saw videos, and I am blessed to be able to point back to video, right? We saw a video of Russians looting stores, getting some lickies and chewies out of stores and water. We saw a nearly broken down Russian warships. The Russian warship that contacted, the Georgian ship, saying, "Hey, we need fuel. Give us fuel." And the Georgian warship was like, "No." Tanks broken down that have run out of fuel. So Russia already had supply chain problems or logistics chain problems. With Ukraine continuing to focus, even striking into Russia on fuel depots, into supply areas up near Kharkiv. We watched a video on Tuesday of them targeting a staging point. They're not making it easy for Russia to continue that Izum axis push. I'm just checking in on the chat. The next thing that I wanted to cover, let's come back up to the top here, is actually best described on Live UA map. And this will be one of the last things we cover. And that is the conditions that Russia is setting for likely Victory Day. Right? If you're not familiar with Victory Day, it's essentially Russia's version. It's Russia celebrating the war over Nazi Germany, right? They celebrate that on the 9th, along with some of the former Soviet republics that also celebrate that. Couple key points about Victory Day. There's a growing suspicion, that Mariupol is going to be one of the key focal points on May 9th of Victory Day. There have been reports of possibility of even a Victory Day parade through Mariupol. That's probably why we see this last, ditch effort to conduct a ground assault. What's interesting to me is the redeployment of 10 BTGs total out of Mariupol, if it was that much of a priority. Again, just really relaying the reports that have come out. But the conditions that Russia is setting elsewhere is what's more concerning. In Kherson, we talked on Tuesday about the transition of money that is allowed to be used in Kherson, right here, to the Russian ruble. Okay. Now, that's not just Kherson either. Melitopol, Volnovakha, I don't know if I pronounced that one correctly. There are towns and areas all along this southern land bridge that are being told by Russian-installed governments that they will be transitioning to the Russian ruble. Something the reason that concerns me is the potential that Russia could essentially force an annexation of some of these areas, or force, new independent republics. There are reports that say Russia intends to do that in Kherson. Why would you transition the money in an area if you weren't going to have that be Russian controlled area for the foreseeable future? You wouldn't do that. That's not something that you would typically do in an invasion. I'm checking my notes here. We've already talked about, we talked earlier, normally I would cover this during this segment, but we talked about the ground assault that's taking place, and, reportedly there are Russians inside of Azovstal Steel Plant, not just the outskirts of the city here. If the senior U.S. defense official is to be believed, then there are about 2,000 total Russian troops left, which ends up with about 2 BTGs. BTG at its maximum is typically around 900 soldiers left in all of Mariupol. So that doesn't leave a whole lot of combat power. What I don't really know a whole lot about, though, is how many Russians remain in Azovstal. I'm interested to hear what you guys have heard about that. You mean Ukrainian defenders? Did I say Russian? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. How many Ukrainian defenders are left in Azovstal? Less than 2,000. I saw an estimate of like 1,500, maybe, but that wasn't a very reliable source, so I didn't want to throw that out there. Those 2 BTGs include the Donetsk People's Republic troops. I don't know. That's a great question, Enema. Russia is pummeling that mill. Those defenders have balls of steel, no pun intended. So the important piece about Azovstal is it is absolutely rife with just layer after layer of tunnels. It was literally designed for the 40,000 plus steel workers that were there to withstand bombardment. It can't be taken by anything but foot. It was designed for this, quite literally. Do you have a Twitter? Do I have a Twitter? I do. I am at Ronnie Fit, but our official Funker Twitter is at FunkerActual. The numbers would be crazy if they push that plant. You know what? We're gonna take a commercial break, and I'm gonna see if I can find that video of Azovstal from the air, because I think it'll really help people understand. I think it'll really help people understand the complex challenge that Russia will have on their hands when they assault that, or that they could be dealing with right now. Oh yeah, I found it already. But anyway, here's that commercial. All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. I saw a funny comment out there and I want to address it. Gaming theory. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. This is all from video games. Definitely not for my, 15 years in intelligence work. Anyway, let's jump in here. So this is going to be a video that'll take us through the entirety of Azovstal from the air. And I think it's a really amazing video to help you understand the complexity of the situation when Russia starts to get knee deep into the steel plant. And this is just the top level. So the maze of networks that exist below here, or the network of tunnels that exist below here, are going to be an even bigger problem. I mean, just look at this. And so those tunnels, and I'm going to give you full screen, those tunnels pop out all over the place through the steel plant. Just there are exits and entries to those tunnels everywhere through here. They won't assault it. Reportedly, they already have. So they have entered, and Ukraine admitted they entered the steel plant. Where exactly, I can't be sure. I got you, Gaming Theory. Well, thanks for being here, man. Whack-a-mole, the deadliest game of whack-a-mole you could imagine. Now you can tell, and this is only from a couple weeks ago, but you can tell based on some of the buildings that they have just reduced a majority of structures here to the best of their ability. But again, you're dealing with a maze of tunnels that exist underneath here that were designed for 40,000 people. So finding 1,500, if it is 1,500, finding 1,500 people in here is going to be an absolute nightmare. Now, for our friends in the chat that are combat arms, I mean, help me out here, but that looks like a nightmare to me. Building to building would suck. Yeah, it would. Steel plant is 100% under Russian control, guys. It's not being stormed because there's no way out anyway. It's not 100% under control. Administrative and combative both would suck immensely. That's an important point, Caveman, right? Not only would you have problems, just from an individual combat perspective, right? Just the difficulty of fighting there, but administratively, being able to say, yes, we cleared this building, which has this 2 tunnels that connect to those tunnels, I think, which also connect to these 5 buildings. How do you check that off the list? I get lost to Walmart. It's a nightmare. Just a nightmare. Tarkov Reserve. I said it earlier. Azovstal's steel plant reminds me of Tarkov. It does. Inside of any of these buildings here could be the factory. Let's keep playing the video. Comms would be a huge issue in those tunnels as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a great infographic that I saw not too long ago. I'm already late for my date, by the way. Thanks. There was a great infographic that I saw not too long ago that really helped you understand, and I hope I can find it again. I'll retweet it if I do. That helps you understand, the layers of tunnels. It's not just the subway where you go down a level and that's the tunnel. Like, there are tunnels on top of tunnels, interconnected like a spider web under there. Chemical? I think if Russia were to use chem, it would be at Azovstal. They could flood it with water. It was probably designed, because it's already close to water, it was probably designed with some form of a drainage or even a pump system that could even be manual. It's hard to speculate on that, but I'm willing to bet because of its proximity to water that it was designed to not flood. Or you could blow up the multiple tunnels, entrance, and go in. Supposedly there are, dozens of entrances to the tunnel, right? So you would have to hit each one methodically as you go through, and that just adds to the complexity. I'm not saying it can't be done. What I'm saying is that adds to the complexity of all of it, right? Checking off every entrance to every tunnel when there are dozens reportedly of tunnel entrances that you'd have to get through, fighting your way to each one. If all the reports are to be believed, there are 1,500, Marines, Azov battalion dudes there, and about 2,000 Russians, you've actually got something pretty close to a force-on-force fight there. There's probably quite a bit less, on the Ukrainian side, but it's difficult to know. Is there still an escape route? Oh, no, not really. They're kind of blocked in there. Let's take another look at the overall map. And this will be the last thing that we talk about. So it's more than likely, they entered the steel plant. If Russia has made their way into the steel plant, it's been from the east. To the west and to the north, you've got water hazards that really keep all these bridges are actually blown out, and we could see that in that video. There are water hazards that would kind of at least delay or make it difficult for Russia to do that, for Russia to press from any of these directions. But from the east, this is really it really just connects directly with the city, with this district, however you pronounce that. But going back to the water thing, if it's this close to water, I can't imagine that they would have built the tunnels and not done some sort of like a drainage. That drainage system might be reliant upon electricity, which, I would assume they're having a hard time keeping on. On Telegram, we see a lot of videos still coming out from Azov, and they've got electricity. So whether that's a generator that they're running down, I don't know. Why the Ukrainian forces don't come to help? They've got their hands full, man. And this is a lot of green to cover to get there. A lot of green to cover to get there. You've got the threat of if Ukraine tries to do anything from the water, you've got all these defenses that are just sitting there and waiting from Russia. Land to sea type capabilities. If you try to press in from here, this is all Russian controlled territory, right? Ukraine's got their hands full just trying to really stem the flow. Now they've been somewhat successful to an extent on counteroffensives near Kherson and near Kharkiv, and they've been very successful in the defense of the east. The biggest threat to Ukraine's stability is the potential of, envelopment here. I want to say we were talking about that on like the 1st of March. But I mean, they can't just walk in to support. I'm sure they've tried. All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight. Thanks very much for being here. I'm going to head over and play some Squad with Karma Cut, good friend of mine, on his custom mod for Squad, Dynamic Direction. You guys are welcome to join us too. There'll be all sorts of information on how you guys can get in there in the stream over on my channel. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the good discussion. Thank you to all of our support. Let me read through that before I close things out here. Scroll up. BG, thank you for the $5. Navy helicopter went down. VB saw out of Fort Storage. Got the message from a friend in the 160th SOAR. Oh, goodness. It's not something that you want to hear. I've worked with the SOAR dudes, and they're absolute badasses in the air. Dark, thank you for the 779. Hey, Ronnie, I have a great idea. You sneak into Moscow with a trench coat. Give it a shot, dude. And take video when you try it. Cora Brown, thank you for becoming a member. S. Moore, thank you for the $10. I was surprised to hear that Belarus fired well over 600 missiles into Ukraine. I guess they are at war with Ukraine. Belarus hasn't. The argument that they're making is that it was Russia that fired from Belarus, not Belarus. But Belarus has been active in this engagement since the early days. They just can't officially say that. Chris, thank you for becoming a member. Mark, thank you for the $1.99. Guys, that's it. I'm out of here. We'll see you over on the other channel if you'd like to join us. We can keep chatting about Ukraine, but I'm gonna slap you right in the pee-pee if you get nasty the way this chat does every so often. So we'll see you there. Stay informed. Good night.
Patrol. Standing by your side, with my heart on high and dry. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart on high and dry. We do what we want, but we're not free. With our hearts on. High Patrol.